Welcome to episode 4 of It's Not Your Fault by Linda Middlesworth. Today we'll focus on building bridges, effective relationship-based advocacy for vegans. This session is for anyone who wants practical tools to feel confident when talking about veganism with people that they care about, and those who are ready to adopt a whole food plant-based diet as the foundation for a long, vibrant life. I'm Mariquita Solis, a relationship and empowerment coach and a member of the Vegan Community Professional Relations team. Joining me in the chat is Bra from the Vegan Community Support Team as well. Today, Linda Middlesworth will be the guiding force behind our session. And before we dive in, I would like for you to let us know where you're joining from in the chat, how many years you've been vegan, if you are vegan, or maybe if you're thinking about veganism, please let us know. I'd really like to also share with you something that's very important. The vegan community thrives on camaraderie, fueled by unwavering support and belief of individuals who share our vision and our values. We're moving forward with a steadfast commitment to bringing more events and powerful tools to you, empowering you to become an advocate for change. But we can't do it without you. If you believe in our vision, step up and become a founding hero. Founding heroes are the heartbeat of the vegan community. People like you who shape our vision, fund our efforts to build a united vegan world, and keep these events free. If you feel called to lead the way, email peterg@thevegancommunity.com or visit thevegancommunity.com. For a one-time contribution of $500 or $50 per month. That's US dollars. Get your seat as a founding hero for this critical effort to build stronger, more fulfilling, impactful vegan movement. So together we can build this. All right, so thank you all for joining. I'd like to start off with a little grounding meditation. So I ask, if you feel like it, please feel free to close your eyes or to soften your gaze. And just take a few deep breaths, breathing in the life force of Mother Earth. Breathing down deep into your hips, down into your legs, down into your feet. Connecting with Mother Earth's wisdom, her love, her protective strength. And just feeling this love radiate through every cell of your body. Knowing that we are here on a journey of exploration and letting go any need to be perfect or have all the answers or anything that might be holding us back, but just opening up to unlimited discovery and awareness of connection with other people, of empathy for others who might not be ready to be fully vegan, or for those that might not know anything about veganism, empathy for those that might think it's impossible to be vegan, and opening up to meeting people where they're at without judgment, but with love and peace as a supportive guiding force. Just seeing this love that you hold in your heart for animals, sending that love back into this room for yourself, for all of us here, for all the pre-vegans out there in the world, knowing that we love them because as a vegan, that is love. Veganism is love towards all, and that includes those who have not chosen yet to be vegan. Open our hearts to this as we breathe this in, feeling grounded with all the animals on the planet. Just feeling the energy of the gorilla, strong, with confident boundaries. The gorilla who does not have to fight, but simply with a gaze lets you know, don't cross my path. We ask for this confidence and the peacefulness of the gorilla, that we don't have to fight. We are confident in ourselves. We ask for the energy of the dove, this peaceful, tranquil being. We ask for this energy when we speak to others about veganism, and we feel Mother Earth giving it to us now. The energy of the gorilla with strong boundaries, the energy of the dove, peacefulness, the energy and wisdom of all the animals on the planet. We hold their wisdom and their love in our hearts. We hold the love for ourselves in our hearts. We celebrate everything we do for animals. We see the light that we give the world, and we feel that light in every cell of our being. Just breathing this beautiful courage, peacefulness, devotion to animals and our planet into every cell. Sitting quietly in the space, confidently letting go and stepping into unlimited discovery and potential. And so we let it be. Namaste. When you feel like it, you're welcome to open your eyes. All right. Thank you so much for joining me in that calmness. It's always nice to lead meditations because I feel very calm afterwards as well. So I just want to introduce you to the outline of today's discussion. We intend to understand the landscape of non-vegan perspectives, share key tips for relationship-based vegan advocacy, identify how to navigate challenging conversations, and have an interactive questions and answer session. And before I hand it over to Linda, let's pause just for a couple of minutes to reflect. And we welcome you to type your most pressing vegan advocacy questions into the chat. So take a couple of minutes to see what's on your heart and where we can support you today. Well, I'm very happy to see people from everywhere here, San Diego, Sacramento, India, people that are exploring the vegan lifestyle and people that are already vegan. We welcome you all. And that's what this is about. Bangladesh. And so we have some questions here. So I am going to, well, I'd like to address the first question. Well, I see, I'm just going to say that I see it and we'll keep that going here, but please put your questions in the chat here. And I'm going to hand this over to Linda Middlesworth, who is a beacon of youthful energy, a health coach, and a food for life instructor at PCRM. I love Linda's confidence, her determination, her unstoppability, right? Nothing is going to stop her, and her awareness of how important it is to share the message with peacefulness, confidence, and meeting people where they are at. So I'm excited to hear about all the practical relationship-based advocacy and whole food plant-based nutrition tips that she has and that she's going to share with us today. All right, Linda, I'm turning it over to you.
Oh, thank you, Medakita, and thank you for that wonderful start. That was very peaceful and Makes you feel good in this crazy world we're in. It's a wonderful way to start any day. Thank you. And thank you for the nice introduction as well. I'm so happy to be here with you, my vegan friends or wannabe vegan friends. You don't have to be vegan to be here. This is for everyone and anyone, but I want to help build our vegan advocacy relationships. And one way to do that is to help you understand. After 37 years, I've been doing this, and I found out what works and what doesn't work over the years. In fact, I'm going to tell you some of my failures in the beginning because it's so easy to fail at this, to do it wrong. And so I will go over that, but I want you to know how important it is to have individual conversations with people. Because when you're try not to do it in a big group, but have individual conversations, because then you can concentrate on what they are interested in and what they need and what they could possibly gain from you. Because there are so many reasons why people are not able to even think about vegan, or the word vegan is a complete turnoff. Even many restaurants don't name the word vegan because it turns people off. If you tell them the food is delicious and why it's delicious, they'll eat it. But if you say it's vegan food, guess what? People think you're eating a lettuce with some salad dressing on it. No, our food is so delicious once you find out about it. But for a lot of people, there are so many reasons why people are not vegan. And I think you have probably heard them yourselves. One reason is because we are brainwashed from birth. Most of us. There are a few people I know who are actually raised as vegan, or I should say raised as plant eaters, not necessarily vegan. First, I'd like to explain the difference between a plant eater and a vegan, because they have nothing to do with each other. And a lot of people don't know that. So what happens is, even my vegan friends, they say they're vegan, but really they're just plant eaters. Does anybody know the difference? What is a plant eater versus a vegan? Vegan has only one meaning. Victoria, do you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
veganism is a moral stance against exploiting or using animals, while plant eaters is just a diet.
exactly. So many people call themselves vegan and they say now they're not vegan anymore. Well, they were never vegan, because a vegan already understands this is not about food. It's not what I put the food, it's not even about compassion. It's about not exploiting or harming others, including animals, human animal, insects, fish. People think a fish is not an animal. Yes, it's an animal. And so we really need to remind everyone that veganism is only about not harming others. And it's kind of funny to me because most humans really don't like harming animals. We don't like it. Like if a squirrel runs across the road and you run over it, you feel so terrible. And you check to see if it's alive and you can take it to Wildlife Care Association, right? Because you're so upset you hurt that little baby squirrel or that mama squirrel or one of the squirrels. Or, but if somebody had a cow, a baby cow, get out of the dairy farm and run across the road and got hit by a car, would you just leave it there? No, you would run out and check on that baby cow because you care about that cow. But then maybe you would care about the cow and take it to the vet and then go get your hamburger. Does that make sense? So people lose the connection because we were brainwashed from little, very small children to think that there are certain animals we're supposed to eat and kill and murder. Of course, we don't know about that part, but we're supposed to eat certain animals like the cow and the pig and the chicken and the lamb and the fish. We're supposed to eat those certain animals, and the other ones we're supposed to love. Unless you live in Vietnam, they also eat the pet dog that we eat, that we don't eat. So, But that brainwashing started with me, of course, at birth, and then I brainwashed my own children. And it wasn't until I was 44 years old that I was on death's door with cancer, heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure. I had 55 pounds extra weight, even though I was teaching 25 classes a week of aerobics because I was eating the wrong food. And I thought I was going to die. I was on death's door, and my new neighbor, who I just met, said, "Linda, you don't have to die." I said, "What are you talking about?" And she told me about Dr. John McDougall. I looked him up and he saved my life, and it's been like that for 37 years. But 1 week after she told me about the food and Dr. McDougall, she said, "You know what they do with dairy cows, don't you?" And I said, "I sure hate giving up my cheese." Oh my God, I hate my cheese. I almost slugged her when she said I should give up my cheese. Anyway, but because it's so addictive. But she told me that they take the babies away from the mothers at birth and they cry for each other. That's it. 1 week later, 37 years ago, I became an animal rights activist, which I am today at 81. Okay, I am going to do that till I die because I have to do something. I can't stand what they're going through. But anyway, as far as our connecting to other people who are not vegan, I have found different ways over the years that work. The one that didn't work for me years ago was with my own daughter, especially, and my one son. One of my sons got it right away, but the other two still don't get it. 37 years ago, I made a big mistake how I approached it. I told them too much too soon. They were not ready for it. And given their lifestyle, they today have completely blocked me from ever talking about it. So I have to let that go. And what I have to do now is not talk to them ever about it, ever, ever, not say one word. And hopefully, maybe before I die, they will get the connection. It's really hard to watch your family members, I know, eat everything. And a lot of people even live with somebody who eats everything. So I know how hard this can be. So that's what I wanted to tell you. You can't tell people automatically everything you know just because you found out. When you find out, you want to tell everybody. You want to tell your friends. You want to tell your family. That's why you have heart disease, or that's why you have cancer, or that's why you have overweight. You know, we really want to tell everything. Don't do that. You have to meet people where they are right now. So what I have found over the years, number one, I have found great information from my three friends who I admire greatly, like Dr. Angela Crawford, psychologist, who has a book coming out, which I'm in, and it's called Vegan Transformation. And I'd like you to get her book because she's amazing how she explains all of this. Oh, look at the puppy. Oh, Victoria, I love your puppy. Anyway, so so her book is and her information is so great. I'd like you to look her up and her book. And then also Dr. Melanie Joy, a friend of mine who wrote a book called Carnism. She talked about that carnism word because we don't have a word for meat eaters. They're not carnivores. They're a member of the carnism group. The carnism is a great way to describe what we're doing in this country and around the world. We're actually not looking at it as carnism. We're looking at it as normal, and it's not normal. Carnism is not normal. Eating animal products is not normal. So please look her up too, because amazing psychologist as well. And the third psychologist is Claire Mann, who coined the word dystopia because it means people dealing with other people who aren't vegan. And so she talks about what we're talking about today, basically. But she goes into even more depth. But so one reason people are not vegan, can you think of some more reasons why people aren't vegan besides being brainwashed from being little? Anybody want to raise their hand? What's another reason people don't go vegan? Anybody? Could it be protein?
They're afraid.
Protein? How about protein? How many times have you heard from non-vegans, protein? I mean, especially for men, they think they need this protein to get big and strong. And it's horrible. I have a young male client, and I swear I keep sending him more and more information about, yes, you can get all the protein you need. All plant food has all the amino acids. Some has more protein than others, like beans have a ton, and tofu and all that, but you can get all the protein you need. I have muscles at 81. Can you see my muscle? Hello? Because I work out and I teach aerobics and weight training. So yeah, you can get muscle by working out. That's why many of our Olympic athletes are vegan, or should I say they're plant eaters. I don't know if they're vegan or not, but they're definitely plant eaters. So, and then the other reason, did somebody write something in the chat there?
Cultural reasons not wanting to be left out.
There you go. Exactly. Who wants to be isolated? You don't want to go to dinner and be the one. Well, actually, nobody invites you anymore because they found out you're a plant eater, right? Or the word vegan. They found out you're vegan. Oh my goodness. Don't invite her. She's going to bring tofu. Help. Yeah, no. So we don't want to be isolated. But there are ways around that. Number one, you don't do anything but bring a really tasty dish with you if it's a potluck, or you eat ahead if there's nothing for you there, and then you bring your little sample salad dressing bottle that you have at home, like I have from California Balsamic, and you eat the salad with a little dressing on it. You don't have to eat the dead animal. No. And if they ask you about it at the dinner table, why aren't you eating the delicious pizza, Linda? And I said, I do eat pizza. I don't like to hurt animals. And I leave it right there. And if they want to know more, I say more. But if they don't, then I'm very quiet. I've learned my lesson not to say too much. You got to find out where they are first. And if they say, I love animals too, what do you mean? You love animals? We're supposed to eat these animals. And then you can ask a question like I do sometimes. You can, if they seem engaged in this idea of what am I doing, then I can say, well, I don't like the idea of exploiting animals. Do you? Or make it kind of like that. And usually they say no. And I said, well, there you have it. And I leave it there. Don't go too far like I have in the past. Um, and then, so it's really easy to find out what they need. I said, how are you feeling? Are you doing okay with your health? I said, oh, I need to lose 50 pounds. And that's my cue to say, oh, I can help you. Or even if you're not a health coach like me, you can direct them to where they can get resources, like at our wonderful group called the Vegan Community. Join the vegancommunity.com if you haven't already. We have tons of podcasts on health, compassion, the climate change, everything. So it's a great resource for you. And then the other thing is, another reason people don't go vegan is because they are addicted, right? Salt, high salt, fat, and sugar, and especially cheese. Why are they addicted to cheese? Because it comes with casein. And casein is 97% of dairy is casein. So when you eat a piece of cheese, it's concentrated casein. And casein is breaks down into what's called casomorphines. Think about that, morphine, addiction. It's like an opiate effect. It's not an actual opiate, but it's like an opiate effect as though you were taking heroin or cocaine. It's not an opiate itself, but it has the same effect. It's meant to bring the baby cow back to the mama so she doesn't wander off when she's drinking her mother's milk. And so That's why we get addicted to it. I was so addicted, I had to take out a piece of cheese from the refrigerator every time I walked by. That's how addictive it is. And I had it's hard. It's not easy to give it up because you have to go at least 21 days without it before you start to improve there. So that's one reason, another reason. And then of course, all the high fat, salt, and sugar that we eat. People wouldn't want to eat bacon if you didn't have it salted. If you gave if you told them to go bite a pig for your bacon, they wouldn't do it, right? That's the way carnivores eat their pig. They eat the whole thing, the anal canal, the intestines, the eyeballs, they don't care. Does that sound good to you? So, when, if you can get that far with people, that's wonderful, but not always in the beginning. So, and of course, many religions promote eating animal products. And that is a tough one because, again, you don't want to be isolated from your religion and your community. But it's something you can do maybe at the potluck, bring some vegan things that taste really good, by the way, and then have them try it. Hopefully they want the recipe, but you have to be very careful with that one because religion is so tied to the food they eat too. I know in my religion, I was a Baptist and we had every Sunday, we had a huge pig or a cow or a leg of lamb or something on the table. And then every meal had animal products, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I get it. Um, and then of course, besides the protein, what else do they think they need they're going to miss if they don't do their dairy? Anybody? If they don't do their dairy, take your mute off.
Calcium.
Calcium. Oh my gosh, I thought I had to have that calcium for my strong bones. And the truth is, calcium actually creates more bone fracture from dairy. If you eat dairy, it actually causes more bone fracture than if you weren't eating the dairy because it's acid and it takes the calcium out of your bones. But the marketing industry for the for the dairy industry is so fabulous. They do such a great job convincing you that your bones are going to crumble without it. I get it. So it's a matter of you directing people to the right doctors who can explain this for you. We have a lot of great movies that explain things like this too, like What the Health and Forks Over Knives. Um, so, um, and then also another reason people are not vegan, guess what? And I've had this happen to me many times as a health coach. You tell your client, I have a new client wants to become a plant eater. I always say you're starting as a plant eater, maybe later you'll become a vegan too, because you care about the animal exploitation. And they say, my doctor said, Linda, I can't do what you said. They said, I will be weak and I won't be strong if I eat like you said. So I'm fighting doctors all the time. Fortunately, I found one doctor who actually had a patient do it once before. So when my client went to him, he said, yeah, you can get off your diabetes. Do that. Yeah, go ahead, do the plants. Yeah. I had another patient do that. Yeah, go ahead. But does he tell anybody else? No, because he's not allowed to, not at his hospital and not Big Pharma. Big Pharma controls and the hospitals control what you can prescribe and must prescribe for that hospital to succeed. And of course, the doctor wants to get paid, right? They don't have any time, nor were they trained in nutrition. They get 4 hours of nutrition and it's not even the right information in 4 years of medical school. I have two friends here in my area who are cardiac surgeons, and they both had bypasses. One of them had 6 bypasses. And then they wrote books, both of them, saying, why didn't anybody tell me about this diet? Because now they eat like I do. And they were so mad that as medical doctors and most of their whole career, they did not get this information in medical school. It's a real crime. And then, of course, the other reason people aren't vegan is another great reason why we're not vegan is because the advertising we get on television or ads anywhere. Happy cows, happy chickens roaming around free, playing soccer or whatever. I mean, it is crazy saying you're supposed to eat it because these are happy, well cared for, and loved animals. Well, they're not. It's a complete myth. And if you want to know more about that, why it's a myth, please, please get a hold of me because I can tell you all the myths and why they are absolute horrific gulags of despair for these animals. My friend Philip Wollen, I'd like you to watch. If you need one great inspirational 10-minute speech, watch Philip Wollen online. And he won the international debate, and it was called Get the Animals Off the Menu. It's so inspiring. So Google Philip Wollen, Wollen, and watch that 10-minute debate. I watch it once a month. He's a good friend of mine in Australia. And I watch it once a month to inspire me to keep going. So I say, please watch that. It's so powerful. His words are so succinctly put and so beautifully phrased. I really need you to watch that to help inspire you or to send to your friends or family if they're interested in being vegan at all, because that is amazing. So that's
Linda,
yes.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say that, there was a comment that change is difficult, that people say that, and it is very true. Change is not a linear process. Everyone changes differently at their own time. But I also wanted to remind again everyone about the founding heroes to join us to amplify your impact. We need your support. For the vegan community, so we can create a future where vegan really, where vegan world is here, we're living in it, right? And also where we can plant these seeds of curiosity, like Linda's saying, meet people where they are at. If they don't want to hear anymore, she's talking about her stories where she's with her family and saying, they didn't want to hear it, and I made the mistake of pushing it. So these are important lessons that we all learn. I've learned those lessons of pushing it. When I go to my sister's house, I don't dare say anything about the environment or veganism, because all that's going to do is just make her, more against it. So I accept it. I'm not the one to tell her about that. Someone else is. And that's why we're all a community here, the vegan community. We all come together to everyone do their part. Someone might not listen to me, but they might listen to Linda, right? Or they might listen to Bharat. We just don't know. So it's not all on me to do, to tell everyone and to drill it down them. No, my job is to plant the seed, let it sit, water it with love, water that person with love, and then maybe down the road, they'll meet Linda and she'll plant another, right? And so, we're watering those seeds. So with our smiles, and look at Linda's health. She's amazing, her energy level. And she's just outstanding. All right. So that was my interruption. Please also, but if you want to be a founding hero, www.thevegancommunity.com, or drop us a note at peterg.thevegancommunity.com. Now back to the show.
Okay, so I agree with you, Marikita. We need you to be aware of the vegan community and join it, because it has so many great resources, so many podcasts on every issue of veganism there is, from compassion to health to the climate and spirituality and yoga. So many things. So I really want you to look it up. It's called thevegancommunity.com. Be sure and put the vegan community. Otherwise, you go off somewhere else. So please do that. And then, yeah, it's really easy to help others if you have resources, and that's where we get our main resources. Now, I would like to go back to knowing your audience, because if you know already that they're maybe the hunting family, or um, they do all kinds of things to hurt animals, that's going to be a tough call because they're really trained in killing is okay, right? So I would start so simply. They might even fight you, these people, when I wear a vegan shirt that's stupid. How could you be a vegan? And I'll say, well, do you know what that is? Yeah, I know what it is. You eat lettuce. Oh, how awful. Well, no, actually, I said, I eat pizza. I just don't have the animals in it and things like that. But so it's amazing that you have to find a place with this person, and maybe you can't, but maybe you plant one seed while you're there talking. I just have to tell you, my dad used to be a hunter, but then he found out too late that what he was eating made him sick and he died of a heart attack. But I'm just saying, and leave it at that and don't say anymore. If they want to know more, then otherwise you have to disengage because sometimes they can be so entrenched in their way of life. There's not much you can do there. So you have to work with somebody who's a little more open-minded. So you ask open-ended questions when you're with people. Like when people say, I could never be vegan. I've heard that so many times. I'm always wearing a vegan hat, a vegan shirt. And so people always react to me. And it's funny, lately I've been more positive than negative. But sometimes they'll say, oh, I could never be vegan. Then I'll say, oh, you know what? I have to agree with you. I thought that same thing. I thought that 37 years ago. For me, it's lucky I can say all these years, right? Maybe you're a new vegan. That's okay. Say, I've been a vegan for 9 months or 5 months. I feel so good now, and I didn't before. And you could start with health because a lot of people care about their health first. Their own health seems to be so important, especially with people who are overweight. So I could say something like, if they are overweight, I could say, well, I was 55 pounds overweight when I started. And so you can break it in that way, right? Even if you're not finished with your health journey yet, you can still say, I'm feeling so much better now, and get it going that way. But you can say things like, talk about personal stories with people. Like I tell people about this one story because I was so proud of it. But I was at the stop sign with my two dogs in the car, and they're really cute. So I roll down the window, and everybody rolls down their window at the long stoplight to tell me how cute they are. And underneath that, on the one door, it says vegan, a magnetic vegan sign. Anyway, so sometimes they'll say, oh, I'm vegan too. Or they'll say, I could never do that. And would you believe at the stop sign, I have a conversation about it? And I said, oh, but you love animals. You said you like my dogs. And then I bring them in that way. I said, do you have a dog? And we talk about the dog. And then it's amazing what you can do at a stoplight with two cute dogs and a vegan sticker. I mean, there are opportunities that people need to take. So it's you have to find the opportunity where you can. Now, some people are not like me. I am outgoing. I know that. I talk about veganism everywhere I go, all day, every day, because I have a shirt on. So people actually talk to me about it. And just the other day, I ran into another vegan because I had my shirt on. I am too. It's just amazing. And one thing I do because I'm outgoing, and I'm going to tell people who are not outgoing what to do, but because I'm outgoing, at the end of every conversation I have, I don't care if it's the grocery store, on phone with the Apple tech people, at the very end, I say, don't forget to go vegan. I don't get a negative reaction. I get, oh, I've been thinking about that. I spent an hour after talking Apple Care tech person, talking about the movies to watch, what books to buy. She's not allowed to get a hold of me, but I said, join the Sacramento Vegan Society. She can do that. So it is just amazing to me that the conversation you can have by ending every conversation with, don't forget to go vegan. And I even got this guy who cared about the climate, but he said, I'll never be vegan. Well, I put it together for him. And so, and I also carry these little vegan outreach pamphlets that on climate change. And I hand them one of those too. So it gives me some, that gives them some resources. But so you have to find out what they care about in order to keep the conversation going. And be quiet if you need to. And just make sure that you planted a seed. Just by talking about it once, by saying, oh, I feel so much better. Even that one statement can sit with them when they don't feel well. I have a big old burly guy at my gym. We were talking, and anyway, he said, he saw my vegan hat. I took it off before class, but he said, I could never do that. And I said, oh, I know, but I feel so much better. And he said, yeah, I got to lose a few pounds though. I said, I can help you do that. So you got to find out what they need, what they're interested in, not being judgmental. And this is another one I like. If you're at a dinner party and somebody asks you why you're vegan, and I'll tell them, but if they don't ask and they're really kind of mad at you because you are vegan, then you just say, you know, thank you for not, well, he says, thank you for asking about my veganism, but I know you don't really want to know about it, but I'm going to ask you something because it's hard for me sometimes. Can you help me? Put it on them to help you, and they don't feel judged. Can you help me not eat that pizza? Because it's really, I don't like to hurt animals, and I just, but it looks so good. You're right, it tastes good. I know how good it is. I used to love to make pizza. I made the best mozzarella parmesan pizza ever with salami on it, so I asked, could you please help me? Help me keep my good health. And there's another thing I tell people, if they really get nasty about you're not eating what they are, I say, my doctor told me, and I don't really know them and I don't really want to know them very well. I just say, my doctor told me I have high cholesterol, but thank you. Thank you so much. I'm not allowed to eat that right now. Thank you. And just leave it like that. But you planted the seed. They got a seed about cholesterol. And a lot of people have very, very high cholesterol. So yeah, so this is how you can work around it. But anyway, I think I would like to ask you some questions, like what your struggles have been. What works for you? What have you found that works for you when dealing with people, whether they're negative against you, whether they're mad at you for eating the way you are, or they don't invite you anymore to the barbecue? Tell me what happens to you. Please ask a question. I'd love to help answer it and have maybe even people in the audience answer it. So
Yeah. Sorry, Linda. If you'll put that in the chat, because I want to make sure we have enough time for it. We already have some questions, so I'd like for you to
okay,
address those.
let's do those first.
Yeah, and go ahead and put those other questions in. And now, everyone, this is a series, right? So what we don't get to today will be in the next one. Linda is full of wisdom, full of answers. So we're going to continue on. And next month, we're piloting our Founding Heroes small group Q&A sessions. And if you'd like to reserve your spot, email peterg@thevegancommunity.com or fill out the given survey. So now I want to look at these questions. So I think you answered this one right here, but how do you start conversations with family members after they've asked that you not speak about veganism? And I thought you said you would leave it alone. Is that correct?
Yeah, you do leave it alone, and you just, if they really ask you exactly not to talk about it, then don't talk about it. That was my big mistake. I talked about it anyway 37 years ago and turned them off for 37 years. So just leave it alone. Be the best example of yourself. Bring really delicious vegan food to wherever you're meeting together so that they can taste it. I made a great dessert for my last get together with my family, and they all want the recipe. That's what you want. You want to engage with food if you can. Yeah, I think that's the best thing to do, because if you say anything, they're just going to block you like they did me.
Right. They'll dig their heels in more firmly. You're right. And the food is a great tip, because I had just had a friend the other day that said the same old thing. I could never go vegan. And I said, let me take you to a vegan restaurant. And she said, yeah, I want to do that. So, I mean, it was yeah, I'm excited to take her because she's going to find out,
Yeah,
there's wonderful
and
vegan
we don't have
food.
to eat the salad. Yeah.
Okay, so here's another question. How can we communicate about veganism without triggering people? Which you did talk about, but I mean,
How can we communicate without triggering? You ask them open-ended questions, um, like if they're, I don't know what the question would be from that other person. It depends on what the question is, or the statement is. But just say what's good for you. You know, I eat like this because I I don't like hurting animals. Make it about that. Or, you know, I had really bad health and now I'm getting better. And just keep it simple and see what the reaction is. Yeah.
yeah, I love that. Tell your own personal story. This is about me and it has nothing to do with you. When I found out what was going on with animals, I became horrified. And since then, I've become a vegan, and then you wait for the question. If they want to
Yeah.
if they want to ask it, if not, let it go,
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
Linda is suggesting. So, all right. How do I let friends and family know that I do not wish for animal products and meat in my kitchen or home when they visit? They live in cognitive dissonance and they don't want to talk about it and change. How do I let them know? Basically, it's not okay.
That's a great question, and it's one of the harder questions because um, just tell them, just simply tell them that I decided I don't want to hurt animals anymore, and I'd like my home to be a sanctuary for that. And that leave it at that. And then you can also, um, of course, say you can have whatever you want at your home, but at my home is a sanctuary to save and protect animals,
That's
something like
beautiful.
that.
Also, you're saying also you're focused on yourself, Linda, when you say that, right? This is what I need in my, I mean, this is what I need in my life to feel safe, because I think this is, I mean,
Yeah.
we are traumatized by that. And so when you speak from your heart, like you're suggesting, right, and not putting it on them, then it creates a safe space, and asking for help as my family member, would you please, understand this? And I know you might not feel the same way, but please help
Ask
me
for their
here.
help. Yeah. Ask for their help. Hmm.
Linda,
Right.
That's
that
the
was
best way I
beautiful.
know.
That was beautiful when you said my home is a sanctuary. I'm going to use that. I love that.
That is
That is,
great too. Yeah.
yeah, wonderful. Okay, so these are really good tips. Now, I don't see any other questions, but I might be missing them. And you were asking right before this, remember you had let's see, here's one right here. We got another question. How do you create space for people who might carry food trauma, eating disorders, or cultural food shame without compromising your values? Essentially managing trauma awareness while ensuring we get the message across.
Hmm. Um, Go back to the beginning of that one. Let's see.
Okay. How do you create space for people who might carry food trauma, eating disorders, or cultural food shame without compromising your values?
You just have to work with what's good for you, because you can't actually fix that for them. That's something they have to deal with. Um, you have to say why you are doing it and keep it about you, because that is something that they have to come to recognition with on their own when they're ready. I see. Paul, do you see any way out of that? Are you
I'm
there, Paul?
sorry. Yeah, I'm here. Sorry. I
Okay.
was deep in thought there. Sorry.
Anyway,
What?
so you see that last question?
The last question was, how do you create space for people who might carry food trauma, eating disorders, or cultural food shame without compromising your values? Essentially managing trauma awareness while ensuring we get the message across.
I would say you keep it about love, about, animals and about health. We love the planet. We need the planet to live on. I mean, I think anyone can agree on that. Even if they don't care about animals, I think people or their health, because it's crazy how people literally don't care about their own health. And I watch so many people die of heart disease. It's like I don't understand how you don't care about yourself. That which is why you can't care about an animal. But it's weird. Most people they care about the earth. So maybe
Yeah.
maybe lean on that and the message of, just love for animals or something and
Yeah, you could
compassion.
ask them if you want climate change to stop. Ask questions. Do you believe in exploiting animals? Ask questions that they need to answer for themselves, I think. What do you think, Victoria?
Yeah, I've run into that before, especially with people with like eating disorders who are just trying to get any calories in. And so I think I go back to the definition of veganism, which is, um, to the most practicable way. And so for certain people, baby steps is what's practical for them. We don't want someone to starve or hurt themselves in the plight of not hurting animals. But I think, whereas with a lot of people, I don't encourage baby steps as much. With someone who has like food trauma, it's good to just be compassionate towards them and realize like, yeah, you've got to take care of yourself, but also, hopefully you can find things that also align with your values. So it's just considering what they, having compassion for them and where they're at.
And maybe you could, even with the eating disorder, you could start with something like, what do you like to eat? And then find an alternative that fits that taste, kind of. Of course, it won't be an animal, but probably some good recipes that would work instead of the animal with the baby steps, like you say.
Yeah, and really also like just giving them information about how it is a healthier, there's so much healthier versions. Um and just spending, I mean, it depends on what the food trauma is and food shame is exactly, but just trying to tailor your activism to being considerate of them. But yeah, asking them, what do you like to eat? And just kind of going it from that angle. I think that's a great way.
You could even ask them if they like animals, if they like animals or love animals, because most people do. Most people love animals and they don't want to hurt them. And you could say something like, did you know the food you're eating actually hurts them? Did you know that? Because so many people don't put that connection together, do they? So I think that would be that's a tricky one. And
Some
it
people
probably
still don't
would
know
be,
you have to impregnate the cow to have milk. They don't, and it's like that should be. I thought that was common knowledge. You know,
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I have an idea. And I don't remember who I've heard this from to begin with, but asking permission, or acknowledging, I know that, I mean, if they've shared with you that they have an eating disorder, then asking permission, could I tell you some more? If this doesn't feel safe, then no. I mean, because I know that, so I was vegetarian, vegan. It was very hard for me when I was struggling, with emotional turmoil, the last thing I could think about was, what am I going to eat? I am like crying my eyes out. I can't do it. So if someone had come up to me and dumped something like, well, you need, well, it really put too much on me. I mean, I would have felt even worse. And I think I would have gone on, on the pattern of just eating more, worse. I mean, because when people are struggling so much, they just have to get to the base level. So somehow, asking, do you need help? Just helping them on that ground level be safe. And then when they're safe, I think then we can introduce, you know, if they're willing, again, asking permission, is this something we could talk about, right? But once they're safe, and if they're in the midst of an eating disorder or trauma, I think love, again, like Paul was saying, the foundation of love and listening and being there for them as a compassionate friend is so crucial. And I think that's what this whole talk is about, love. I mean, veganism is love. And as Linda, and as you have said so many times in the past, that's what veganism is about. So anyway, that's
Yeah.
my 2 cents. And it looks like we're coming to the end of the hour also. So, but Linda, um, give us some final thoughts,
Okay, the first thing I would like to say is, or the last thing I would like to say is that I think, first of all, you must be very proud of yourself for doing what you've already done. You must appreciate yourself and love yourself for the realizations that you have today about why we are vegan. We're vegan because we don't want to exploit animals, any animal, and that means the human animal too. So every animal feels pain. And so we need to help spread that message about veganism, because we need to stop the pain, the Holocaust, the gulags of despair that are going on for the animals. Every day I cry for them because I feel for them. And I'm hoping that you do too, that you care that much and that you can pass that message on to others in any way you can. Just you have to do it without being judgmental. You have to do it by being inclusive. You have to do it by finding out where they are and not forcing anything. Don't be preachy ever. Don't say you got to be vegan for any reason. That word should never come out, those words. And you must use open-ended questions. Ask people to help you stay on your course, and they don't feel threatened. They like to help you. They just don't want to be told what to do, because most people have never liked that. Not even when they were children did they like to be told what to do, right? And now as adults, we still don't like to be told what to do. So we want to be inviting, show them where they can go to the vegan community to get information. So many podcasts about everything from these wonderful people, and about the climate with Dr. Salish Rao and climate change. And then we have Dr. Akil Taher, a wonderful doctor who had bypasses and heart attacks, and he became a vegan plant-based eater. And now he has his own courses, things like that. So, once you find out about this, then try not to be too silent about it. I mean, it's not that you have to be like me, but maybe you can just mention things once in a while if somebody asks you a question about it. Give them the resources where to go. Tell them how they can fix their heart disease if they have heart disease. Sometimes people say, I have terrible heart disease and there's nothing I can do. Well, don't say nothing. Just tell where you can get the resources. Give people where they can go. And the one place is the vegan community, because I'm not kidding. They are doing amazing work with people all around the world. And it's just amazing. So please join the vegan community, become a founding member, and please find out what resources are there for us. They are an amazing group of people all running this whole thing. And I just really thank you so much for being here today. If you have specific questions for me, please feel free to look me up at Vegan Mentor, my website, Vegan Mentor, right here. Just look that up. You can find me there. Real easy. And I thank Mariquita and Barat for helping me so much with all of this and keeping it together. It is wonderful to be in such a group and to have the not only attention, but the love from people here, people who actually care. And it feels so supportive to be doing this with you. And I thank you for being a part of it. If you have any questions, please write to me. Please contact me or Mariquita, okay? Anyway, thank you so much, everybody, and have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Linda, for everything, for being such a majestic light in all of your wisdom. We're very honored to have you as our guest, and we're looking forward to the next one. So everyone, keep up with the vegan community. If you haven't joined, please join us. We keep saying that over and over, but there's a reason. We need each other. We are each other's medicine. So thank you so much for being here. I'm very grateful and honored to host this, and we'll see you again soon.
Yes.
All
Bye,
right.
guys.
Blessings, everybody.
Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.